What if manipulation is just a game, and you've been playing without knowing the rules? True power is not just learning to play, it's learning how to become the board itself, upon which their petty games have no power. These are the rules to achieve that dominion. 7 Dominant Rules to Disarm Manipulators, Stoicism. Compiled and published by Stoic Dominion. Lesson 1. Spot lies behind sweet words. Imagine a wise king being presented with a golden chalice, filled to the brim with a sweet, fragrant wine. The person offering it speaks with honeyed words, praising the king's wisdom and strength. The foolish king, seduced by the flattery and the appealing appearance of the gift, would drink it down without a thought. The wise king, however, knows that the sweeter the wine, the more carefully one must check for poison. He accepts the chalice with a gracious nod, but he does not drink. He first examines the giver, their motives, and the contents of the cup with a cool, discerning eye. This is the inner conflict we face with the most common tool of manipulators, sweet words. We are presented with excessive flattery, grand promises for the future, and declarations of affection that seem too good to be true. Our ego and our desires want desperately to believe these words. The problem is that we become so intoxicated by the sweet wine of their words that we fail to detect the subtle poison of their intent. This poison could be a hidden agenda, a lack of genuine character, or the simple fact that their words are a complete fabrication, designed to lower our defenses before they make a withdrawal from our bank of time, energy, or resources. By drinking the wine too quickly, we leave ourselves vulnerable to their true purpose. The first dominant rule is to become a master of discernment, to learn to spot lies behind sweet words. This is the practice of becoming the wise king's royal taster, training your mind to look past the beautiful surface and analyze the substance within. The core Stoic principle here is the profound difference between words and virtue. The Stoics taught that one must judge a person not on their rhetoric, but on their character, as revealed by their actions over time. Words are cheap, easily produced, and often used as a smokescreen. A person's character, their integrity, their reliability, their justice, is costly and built through consistent, disciplined action. A manipulator specializes in beautiful words because they have not done the hard work of building a beautiful character. A Stoic warrior, therefore, trains himself to be slightly deaf to flattery and promises, and to be an incredibly keen observer of behavior. He lets the sweet words wash over him without effect, and he waits for the hard evidence of action. To develop this powerful discernment, you must train your mind to value evidence over emotion. The first actionable step is to adopt a policy of actions as truth. When a person's words and actions are in conflict, you must make it your unbreakable rule to always, without exception, believe the actions. The actions are the truth. The words are the noise. The second step is to become a student of love bombing and excessive flattery. Recognize that when someone you have just met is showering you with constant, over-the-top praise and grand promises of a future together, this is not a sign of deep connection. It is a bright red flag. It is a tactic designed to overwhelm your rational mind with emotion. The third step is to use the tool of time. A manipulator wants to create a whirlwind of emotion to rush you into a decision. Your greatest defense is to slow everything down. Give the person the gift of time to prove their sweet words with consistent, honorable actions. Their true character will always reveal itself, if you are patient enough to watch. The benefits of spotting these lies are that you will become virtually immune to deception. You will no longer be a target for flatterers, con artists, or people who use promises as a tool of control. You will build relationships on the solid bedrock of observed character, not on the shifting sands of sweet talk. Your mind will become a clear, discerning instrument, capable of distinguishing the poisoned chalice from the cup of true friendship. You become the wise king who can enjoy the poetry of his court, but whose judgment is never clouded by it. Your practice is to think of one person in your life whose words are consistently sweeter than their actions. For 1 week, make a conscious effort to ignore their words and only pay attention to what they do. Spotting the lies in their words is the first step. But the manipulator's most potent poison is not aimed at your ears, but at your heart. They use your own emotions as weapons against you. Next, we will learn how to guard your mind against their emotional hooks. If you are ready to see the truth, please subscribe to Stoic Dominion. Lesson 2. Guard mind against emotional hooks. Imagine your mind as a great, serene lake. A manipulative person is like a fisherman standing on the shore. He knows he cannot force the fish to jump into his net, so he uses bait. He carefully chooses a lure that is designed to trigger a primal, irresistible impulse in the fish. He might use a lure of guilt, a lure of pity, a lure of fear, or a lure of vanity. He casts his line and waits for the fish to hook itself. Once hooked, the fish is no longer in control. It is pulled from its natural element, its peace destroyed, its power gone. This is the inner conflict we face against a manipulator's primary weapon. We are the fish, swimming in the lake of our own mind. The manipulator casts his emotional hooks. If you really cared, you would. The guilt hook. I don't know what I would do without you. The pity hook. You're the only one smart enough to. The vanity hook. The problem is that we are conditioned to bite. These hooks are designed to bypass our rational thought and trigger a powerful, instinctual emotional response. Once we take the bait, once we feel the pang of guilt or the surge of ego, we are hooked. We have lost our freedom, and we are now being reeled in by the manipulator's agenda. The second dominant rule is to become the wise old fish that can see the hook inside the bait, to learn to guard your mind against emotional hooks. This is the practice of developing an awareness so sharp that you can see the manipulative intent behind an emotional appeal, and therefore refuse to bite. The core Stoic principle here is the discipline of assent. An emotional hook is just an impression presented to your mind. The feeling of guilt is not a fact. It is a suggestion. The feeling of pity is not a command. It is a proposal. A Stoic warrior trains himself to observe these impressions without immediately assenting to them. He sees the bait, but he also sees the sharp, barbed hook hidden within. He has the mental discipline to pause, to recognize the trap, and to swim calmly away, leaving the fisherman with nothing but a slack line. This is not about being heartless. It is about refusing to allow your heart to be weaponized against your own reason. To become this vigilant guardian of your own mind, you must learn to identify the manipulator's tackle box. The first actionable step is to create a mental hook detector. Learn the main categories of manipulative bait: guilt, pity, fear, and flattery. When you hear a statement that is designed to make you feel one of these core emotions, your detector should go off. Alert, guilt hook detected. This awareness itself is a powerful shield. The second step is to practice mentally separating the bait from the hook. Acknowledge the emotional appeal, but focus only on the rational request. For instance, with "I don't know what I'd do without you. Can you lend me money again?" You consciously ignore the pity bait and evaluate the core request. This person is asking for another loan. This allows you to make a decision based on logic, not on the emotional pressure. The third step is to have a set of calm, non-committal phrases ready. "I'll have to think about that. That's not something I can decide on right now." Or, "I understand you feel that way." These phrases create a buffer, giving you time to analyze the hook without biting it. The benefits of guarding your mind against these hooks are immense. You will effectively disarm the manipulator's primary arsenal. You will no longer be controlled by feelings of unearned guilt or obligation. Your decisions will become your own, guided by your own values and reason, not by the emotional traps set by others. You will feel a profound sense of mental sovereignty and peace, the peace of a fish swimming freely in its own lake, aware of the fishermen on the shore, but completely immune to their tricks. You become the wise old fish that every manipulator dreads, the one they can never, ever catch. Your practice for this week is to simply listen for these hooks in your daily life, in conversations, in advertisements, in the media. Just practice spotting them. Don't do anything yet. Just see the bait and the hook within. Guarding against lies and emotional hooks is a powerful defense. But the ultimate defense is an offense, building an inner character so strong and principled that it becomes immune to manipulation. Next, we will learn how to strengthen your core Stoic principles. Please like this video to help others see the hooks. Lesson 3. Strengthen core Stoic principles. Imagine a great nation preparing for a long and difficult war. The wise ruler knows that the nation's ultimate strength does not lie in its outer defenses alone, but in the character and resolve of its people. So, before the war begins, he focuses on strengthening the core of his society. He reinforces the rule of law, he promotes the virtues of courage and discipline, and he unites his people around a common, noble purpose. He builds a strong, principled core, knowing that a nation with a powerful sense of its own identity and values can never be truly conquered. This is the inner conflict we face when preparing to deal with manipulators. We can learn all the defensive tactics, but if our own inner world, our own kingdom, is in a state of moral confusion, we will still be vulnerable. The problem is that many of us have not deliberately defined our own core principles. We have a vague sense of right and wrong, but we have not forged a clear, unshakable, personal constitution. This leaves our inner kingdom without a strong government, without a clear rule of law. And a kingdom in a state of inner chaos is easily infiltrated and controlled by outside forces. The third dominant rule is to stop focusing only on the enemy and to begin the great work of strengthening your own nation. You must strengthen your core Stoic principles. This is the practice of defining and then living by a clear, non-negotiable set of personal virtues. The core Stoic idea is that virtue is the ultimate good and the only true source of strength. A man whose life is anchored in a deep commitment to justice, courage, temperance, and wisdom is a man who cannot be easily manipulated. Why? Because a manipulator's entire strategy is to convince you to act against your own best interests or your own values. But if you have a crystal clear understanding of your values and an unbreakable commitment to them, the manipulator has no leverage. You cannot be guilted into acting unjustly. You cannot be flattered into acting foolishly. Your principles become your shield and your sword. They are the supreme law of your land, and they are not subject to appeal. To forge this core of principle, you must become the founding father of your own inner nation. The first actionable step is to write your personal constitution. As we have discussed before, this means identifying your most important values. But go deeper. For each value, write a governing clause. If your value is integrity, your clause might be, I will not lie even by omission for personal gain, nor will I tolerate dishonesty in my inner circle. This makes the value a clear, actionable law. The second step is to make your principles your primary advisors. When faced with a difficult decision, especially one involving a potentially manipulative person, do not first consult your fear or your desire. First, consult your principles. Ask yourself, what would courage demand here? What would justice look like? What is the wise path? Your principles become your trusted counsel. The third step is to practice your principles in small ways every day. Hold yourself to a high standard of honesty in a minor conversation. Choose the disciplined action over the easy one. Every small act of virtue is like a drill that strengthens your entire army. The benefits of having a strong core of principles are a profound sense of integrity and inner peace. You will no longer feel confused or conflicted when faced with manipulative tactics, because your path will be illuminated by the bright light of your own values. Your decisions will become swift and certain. You will develop an aura of moral authority that manipulators who thrive in the gray areas of moral ambiguity will find deeply intimidating. They will learn that your kingdom is not a lawless territory to be exploited, but a well-governed nation with an unshakable sense of its own identity. Your practice is to review the core values you have written down. Choose one of them. Tomorrow, find one opportunity, no matter how small, to make a decision that is a clear and direct expression of that single value. When your inner kingdom is well governed by strong principles, you can turn your attention outward with new clarity. You can begin to see the world and other people as they truly are. Next, we will learn to read people's true intentions. Please subscribe to Stoic Dominion to continue forging your character. Lesson 4. Read people's true intentions. Imagine a grandmaster chess player. He does not just look at the position of the pieces on the board. He looks through the pieces, into the mind of his opponent. He is not just asking, what move did he just make? He is asking, why did he make that move? What is his long-term strategy? What trap is he setting for me 3 moves from now? His ability to see the hidden intention behind the visible move is what makes him a grandmaster. This is the inner conflict that makes us vulnerable to manipulation. We are amateurs playing chess against grandmasters. We tend to take people's actions and words at face value. We look only at the surface-level move. We don't ask the crucial follow-up question, why? The problem is that a manipulator's true intention is almost never what they present on the surface. Their words are a smokescreen, their actions are a diversion, and their emotional displays are a tactic. By reacting only to the surface-level game, we are constantly being led into traps. We are the chess player who only sees the immediate threat, completely blind to the checkmate that is being prepared against us. The 4th dominant rule is to become the grandmaster of human dynamics, to learn to read people's true intentions. This is the practice of looking past the what of a person's behavior and applying your reason to understand the why. The core Stoic principle here is that all human action is driven by a desire to achieve what is perceived to be good. The manipulator is no different. The key is that their definition of good is flawed and self-serving. They may be seeking control, validation, resources, or the avoidance of responsibility. Their actions, no matter how confusing or chaotic on the surface, are always illogical from their perspective strategy to achieve that selfish good. A Stoic warrior, as a student of human nature, trains himself to see this underlying strategy. He does not get caught up in the emotional drama of the move. He calmly analyzes its strategic purpose. This allows him to anticipate their next move and to craft a response that counters the strategy, not just the tactic. To develop this grandmaster-level perception, you must become a student of motives. The first actionable step is to always ask yourself, what does this person stand to gain from this behavior? This is the principle of cui bono, or who benefits. If a person is creating drama, what do they gain? Attention? Power? If they are playing the victim, what do they gain? Evasion of responsibility? Pity? Following the trail of self-interest often leads directly to their true intention. The second step is to trust patterns over words. A person can say anything, but their patterns of behavior reveal their true character and motives. If someone consistently creates chaos right before a commitment is due, their true intention is likely to avoid responsibility, no matter what they say. The third step is to conduct character intelligence. Listen to how a person talks about others. A person who is constantly gossiping, blaming, and judging others is giving you a free demonstration of how they will eventually talk about you. They are revealing their true nature. The benefits of learning to read true intentions are that you will move through the world with a new level of clarity and strategic advantage. You will no longer be surprised or confused by the behavior of manipulative people. You will see their moves coming long before they happen, giving you ample time to prepare your defense. This skill will make you an exceptional leader, negotiator, and strategist because you will be operating on a deeper level of understanding than those around you. You become the grandmaster who sees the entire board, understands the mind of his opponent, and is therefore always 3 moves ahead. Your practice is to think of a recent, confusing interaction you had. Instead of focusing on what they did, ask yourself the question, what did they stand to gain from that behavior? Once you can read the board with perfect clarity, you must be able to make your own move. A king does not just observe, he acts with the full weight of his authority. Next, we will learn how to respond to manipulators with calm, composed authority. If you found this lesson valuable, please like the video. Lesson 5. Respond with composed authority. Imagine a wise king on his throne. A manipulative courtier approaches, using a clever mix of flattery and veiled threats to try and influence a royal decision. The insecure king might react with anger, shouting at the courtier for his insolence. Or he might react with fear, becoming defensive and trying to justify his position. Both reactions are a failure. The angry king looks weak and out of control. The defensive king looks weak and uncertain. The wise Stoic king does neither. He listens to the courtier's entire performance with an expression of calm, neutral impassivity. His stillness is a shield. When the courtier is finished, the king does not raise his voice. He does not defend himself. He simply looks at the courtier and, with quiet, unshakable authority, says, "Your counsel is noted. I will make the decision that best serves the realm. You are dismissed." This is the inner conflict we face when we have seen through a manipulator's game and it is our turn to act. Our instinct is to either call them out with anger or to retreat with passive aggression. The problem is that both of these responses are still emotional reactions. They show the manipulator that they have succeeded in getting under our skin. An emotional response, even an angry one, is a sign that we have lost our center. It is the response of a courtier, not a king. The fifth dominant rule is to learn to respond with composed authority. This is the art of communicating your position and your decisions from a place of absolute inner calm and unshakable self-possession. It is the response of the king on his throne. The core Stoic idea here is that true power is not emotional, it is rational. Your authority does not come from the volume of your voice, but from the clarity of your mind and the integrity of your principles. A composed response is powerful because it is not a reaction to their provocation, but an action initiated from your own center of command. It silently communicates. Your games have no power here. Your emotional tactics are irrelevant. I operate on the level of reason and principle, and on that level, I am the supreme authority in my own life. This calm, rational authority is what manipulators fear most, because it is the one thing they cannot control. To master this kingly response, you must practice the art of minimalist communication. The first actionable step is to use fewer words. In a tense situation, the person who uses the fewest words often has the most power. Do not get drawn into long defensive explanations. State your decision or your boundary simply and clearly. The second step is to use gray rock technique. This means making your responses as boring and uninteresting as possible to the manipulator. They thrive on drama. When you give them calm, factual, non-emotional responses, you become as interesting as a gray rock. They have nothing to hook into, and they will quickly lose interest and go elsewhere for their supply of drama. For example, to a series of baiting texts, a simple "I see" or no response at all is a powerful gray rock response. The third step is to always bring the focus back to your own decision and your own boundary, not their feelings about it. I understand you are upset, but my decision is final. I hear your point of view, but this is the boundary I have set for myself. The benefits of responding with composed authority are that you will end manipulative conversations quickly and effectively. You will refuse to provide the emotional reaction that the manipulator is seeking, which will often cause them to disengage entirely. You will build a powerful reputation as someone who is calm, decisive, and impossible to rattle. You will feel a profound sense of your own power, the power of a king who does not need to shout to rule, because his quiet authority is absolute. Your practice for this week is to identify a situation where you would normally get drawn into a long, defensive explanation. Instead, prepare one simple, calm, and definitive sentence that you will use instead. Responding with authority stops the game in the moment. But to stop it for good, we must break the very loop that gives manipulators their power. Next, we will learn how to break toxic control loops fast. To continue your training in self-mastery, please subscribe to our channel. Lesson 6. Break toxic control loops fast. Imagine a skilled dancer who finds himself paired with a clumsy and aggressive partner. The aggressive partner is constantly trying to lead, to pull the skilled dancer off balance, and to force him into a chaotic, stumbling rhythm. The unskilled dancer would try to fight back, pushing against his partner, creating a clumsy and ugly struggle. The skilled dancer does something different. He does not fight his partner's momentum. He uses it. He recognizes the pattern of his partner's aggressive lead, and at a key moment, he uses a subtle shift in his own weight and timing to break the toxic loop and gracefully spin away. leaving the aggressive partner stumbling alone in the middle of the floor. This is the inner conflict we face when we are trapped in a toxic control loop with a manipulator. This is the familiar cycle of provocation, reaction, and drama. They push a button, we react, they respond to our reaction, and the ugly dance goes on and on. The problem is that as long as we keep dancing their dance, as long as we keep reacting in the predictable ways they expect, we will never be free. We are trapped in their rhythm, and they will always be leading. The sixth dominant rule is to become the master dancer and learn to break toxic control loops fast. This is the strategic understanding that you cannot change your partner's steps, but you have absolute power to change your own. And the moment you change your step, the entire dance changes with it. The core Stoic principle here is the discipline of action, guided by the dichotomy of control. You cannot control the manipulator's move. You can only control your counter move. A toxic loop is sustained by predictable reactions. The manipulator knows that if they do X, you will do Y. The loop is broken the instant they do X, and you, through your Stoic training, do Z instead. By refusing to deliver your expected reaction, you are changing your step, you are breaking the rhythm. The manipulator is left stumbling because their lead has met with an unexpected and composed response that they do not know how to handle. To become a master of breaking these loops, you must be both observant and unpredictable. The first actionable step is to map the dance. In your journal, identify one recurring toxic loop in your life. What is their predictable first move, and what is your predictable reaction? See the if X then Y pattern clearly. The second step is to script your Z move. This is your new, unexpected, and composed response. For example, if their move is a critical comment X, and your usual reaction is to get defensive Y, your new Z move could be to respond with calm, disarming humor, or to simply agree with a small part of their criticism, or to ask a clarifying question. It must be anything other than your usual defensive reaction. The third step is to execute your new move with resolve. The next time the dance begins, you must have the courage to try your new step. It will feel strange and uncomfortable, but it is the only way to break the spell. The benefits of breaking these loops are immediate freedom and a profound shift in the power dynamic. The manipulator will be thrown completely off balance. Their tactics will suddenly stop working, and they will often be forced to either disengage or to try and communicate in a more direct, less manipulative way. You will feel an incredible sense of empowerment, the feeling of a prisoner who has finally figured out the key to his own chains. You are no longer a predictable partner in a toxic dance. You are the graceful master who can change the rhythm of any interaction at will. Your practice is to map out one toxic loop in your life. Just write it down. When they do X, I always do Y. Seeing the pattern is the first step to breaking it. When you have learned to break the loops that once controlled you, you are ready for the final, most important rule. You are ready to claim your own crown. In our final lesson, we will explore how to stand firm in your own Stoic dominion. Please like this video to show your support for breaking toxic cycles. Lesson 7. Stand firm in Stoic dominion. Imagine a king who has successfully defended his realm. He's identified the spies, fortified the walls, and mastered the art of strategy on the battlefield. His kingdom is now a place of peace, strength, and order. His final and most important duty is to now rule it. He must stand firm as the sovereign of the domain he has fought so hard to secure. He must embody the very principles he has defended. His victory is not a single event, but a new way of being. This is the culmination of our journey. We have learned to spot the lies, to guard our minds, to strengthen our principles, to read intentions, to respond with authority, and to break toxic loops. The inner conflict now is to ensure this is not just a temporary victory. The final challenge is to integrate these rules so completely that they become the very fabric of your character. The problem is that after a long war, it can be tempting to let the defenses down, to become complacent. But a true king knows that his dominion is not a destination to be reached, but a state to be maintained through constant, quiet vigilance and unwavering commitment to his own principles. The final dominant rule, the one that encompasses all others, is to stand firm in your Stoic dominion. This is the practice of embodying the virtues of the Stoic warrior king as your permanent way of life. It is the understanding that disarming manipulators is not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to build an inner kingdom of such profound peace, integrity, and self-sufficiency that it becomes largely immune to the outside world. The core Stoic idea is that of eudaimonia, or the flourishing life. This is a life where your happiness and sense of worth are derived entirely from your own virtuous character and your rational command of your own mind. A man who has achieved this state is the ultimate master of his own life. He has disarmed all manipulators, not by defeating them in battle, but by making himself an impossible target. His inner peace is his shield, his reason is his sword, and his character is his unbreachable fortress. He needs nothing from them, and therefore they have no power over him. To stand firm in your dominion is a lifelong commitment to your own excellence. The first actionable step is to make your Stoic practice a permanent part of your life. Your daily journaling, your meditation, your reading of philosophy, these are not temporary fixes. They are the ongoing maintenance of your kingdom. The second step is to become a source of strength for others. Having built your own fortress, you can now offer shelter and wise counsel to those who are still struggling in the storm. Your own mastery becomes a gift to the world. The third step is to live with a sense of quiet joy and gratitude. The peace you have fought so hard for is a precious thing. Take the time every day to appreciate it. Find joy in your own purpose, in your own well-ordered mind, and in the simple, profound act of living a virtuous life. The benefits of this final stage are the achievement of a life of true freedom, power, and profound meaning. You will move through the world with a calm, quiet confidence that is unshakable. You will build relationships based on mutual respect and genuine connection. You will become a beacon of strength and wisdom in a chaotic world. You are no longer just a man who is defending himself against manipulators. You are the king, secure on his throne, ruling a prosperous and peaceful inner kingdom, a true master of himself and his own destiny. Your final practice is one of reflection and commitment. Look back on these 7 rules. See them not as separate tactics, but as the integrated architecture of a powerful and virtuous mind. Commit today to not just using these rules, but to becoming the kind of man who embodies them. To disarm a manipulator is not to engage in their petty games. It is to build an inner kingdom of reason and virtue so strong that their tactics become irrelevant. Your peace becomes your shield, and your unshakable character becomes your ultimate silent victory. Thank you for your dedication to this journey of self-mastery. The discipline to build and rule your own inner kingdom is the noblest work a man can undertake. If this guide has provided you with value, please like the video, comment with the rule that was most powerful for you, and subscribe to Stoic Dominion for more strategies on building an unshakable life.